Let's get straight to political editor Andrew Clennell, and for the Prime Minister, for the government to navigate some really difficult issues on the front when it comes to dealing with not just the Voice, but this crime wave in Alice Springs.
That's right, Kieran. Well, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was at Box Hill in Melbourne yesterday for Lunar New Year celebrations, where in the year of the rabbit, the South Sydney Rabbitohs fan was presented with a stuffed rabbit by the Chinese Consul General. This reception comes amid an expectation the PM is likely to be the first PM to visit China this year, since Malcolm Turnbull did it in 2016. But back home, the PM has more immediate concerns around the violence in Alice Springs, and he's pitched to the Australian public to recognise Aboriginal people in the Constitution with a voice to Parliament to be put to referendum later this year. We can expect by the end of the week a federal-led further tightening of alcohol restrictions in the Northern Territory, with the likely introduction of opt-out alcohol restrictions in Aboriginal communities, not the current system of opt-in. When it came to the meeting between the Prime Minister and the Northern Territory government and Indigenous groups in Alice Springs last Tuesday, I understand the outcome that was announced to tighten takeaway alcohol sales and have 2 alcohol-free days had been worked out by officials before the meeting. But in the meeting, the PM was quite strong in his advocacy for the opt-in, opt-out change. That has now been sent out for review, with an expected announcement at the end of the week. The argument is by making the bans opt-out, more communities are likely to retain them. The federal government is also hopeful that the appointment of a Central Australian controller, Darrell Anderson, which will begin on Tuesday, will make a difference to the lawlessness that has occurred in Alice Springs. The PM, in an interview at the Lodge with me last week, flagged potential tougher alcohol bans and also discussed how difficult he believed it would be for Aboriginal people if his Voice referendum did not succeed this year. Could you see a total ban introduced again? If the report said that was what was required, is that what you would institute?
Well, that's an option that we completely have said is there on the table. There is a need for a response. It isn't just alcohol. There's a range of issues there that go to Indigenous disadvantage, that go to a lack of employment. It's a handout asking for the Australian people to just grab it, to take up
what if they don't grab
opportunity.
It? What if they don't grab it?
We live in a democracy, and we know that. We know that referendums are very difficult.
If you put this up and it fails, doesn't that set back reconciliation? I mean, it's a pivotal... I mean, it would also weaken your prime ministership, surely.
It's not about me.
People are concerned that if it fails, it will set back the cause of reconciliation. What do you think?
Well, quite clearly, if it is not successful, then that will be difficult. But Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people themselves have been very patient.
Now, the PM during that interview also issued an invitation to the opposition leader Peter Dutton, who has been calling for more detail on the Voice proposal, to join the referendum working group for a discussion about this and take part in the referendum process. Mr Dutton has told me he will be happy to attend such a meeting, but as of this morning, I understand no date has been set. You can expect Mr Dutton, meanwhile, to continue calling for a military-style intervention in the top end, as well as a Royal Commission into child sexual abuse in communities in the Territory. We will talk to Assistant Indigenous Australians Minister Malarndirri McCarthy about the situation in Alice Springs and about the prospects of the Voice referendum in a moment. For our own correspondent Matt Cunningham, who's been covering the problems in Alice Springs for many months in such a tireless fashion, he broke down on air on Friday as he spoke about how he hoped some of the problems for women and children in the communities can be fixed.
This week, much of what's been reported here in Alice Springs has been framed as a black versus white issue. Every single person speaking in that story was Aboriginal. That was September last year, and they were crying out for help. Have a look at this place. It is the most beautiful place in the world, you know, the heart of this country, but it's breaking at the moment.
Matt, it's been a big week for you. That story back in September obviously affected you so much as well. I'm sorry to put you on the spot here, but why is it so tough for you? Can you put into words kind of what you're seeing day to day, and what would you tell us here in the city that we don't see?
I've been reporting on this stuff for a long time, Laura, and I see that the country cares. It cares for about 5 minutes and then it moves on and doesn't care anymore. So, maybe we've got a chance here that, we are focused on this for once, and maybe something will actually happen and something will change.